So you want to know what it is that makes TikTok so incredibly. Stick around. Now, first, as a disclaimer, I am not any type of social media guru. You go on to any of my social media platforms, I have like 1,000 friends on Facebook, like 200 followers on TikTok, 100 on Twitch, maybe 100 here on YouTube. So take everything that I'm about to say with a grain of salt. However, that being said, they say those who can't do teach, so there may be some credibility in what I have to say, so don't discount everything outright. I'm going to go over a few different things, but mainly it's going to be social media algorithms. So if you want to jump to those, I have them down in the time code in a pinned comment. Like I said, mainly I'm going to be talking about algorithms, social media algorithms. Now, each has their own, each has probably, I don't know how many countless numbers you can think of. However, there's major algorithms and then there's minor sub algorithms built into those major algorithms. I'm going to focus on the more vague, broad main algorithms that are in each social media profile. And there's basically about two or two and a half or three, depending on the way you look at it. There's the creator to consumer algorithm, which is a two-sided coin, making it 1 to 2. And then there's the gatekeeping algorithm that each social media has in a different kind of way. Now, the creator to consumer algorithm is kind of the algorithm that makes videos go viral, whereas the gatekeeping algorithm is basically more the exposure algorithm. Now, both play obviously into a video going viral. However, one is more about one algorithm where the other is more the gatekeeping. So, first, I'm going to focus on the gatekeeping. So, this is basically the likelihood that your video gets in front of, say, 5 people, 50 people, 500 or 5,000, 50,000, etc., so on, so on, before it even gets seen by a single person. YouTube is probably the biggest, I wouldn't say offender, but arbiter of this algorithm. YouTube probably being one of the biggest platforms, social media platforms that have ever existed with the biggest audience and most connectivity to people. It definitely has the biggest gatekeeping. It's also been around the longest. Now, each social media platform has its own unique gatekeeping algorithm. But on top of that, it's not just unique to each platform, it's also unique to time periods. It changes over time, it changes on platforms' priority. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at YouTube specifically, you need to look no further than Steven Crowder, one of the biggest conservative names on YouTube for the longest time. A while back, he actually did a video where he had to use a VPN because if you search for Steven Crowder's videos, I don't know if that's still the case, but at some point it was, where if you search Steven Crowder, Louder with Crowder, Change My Mind, doesn't matter what you search for, if it showed up at all, it showed up like 3 or 4 pages down. Everything else was people reacting to those videos. The only way to get real exposure to it is you had to have a VPN and an IP address on that VPN outside of the United States. Now, obviously, that's an outlier for how it works. However, it does show that at times the algorithm can be agenda driven. The rest of the gatekeeping algorithm has to do with a little bit of creator to consumer potential. For example, thumbnail quality, title quality, tags, things of that nature. How likely it is that YouTube thinks that it might go viral is the likelihood that it would put it in front of a lot of people so it can go viral. There's also the social media platform that everyone knows about where everyone's kind of the content to time ratio. For example, posting 2 to 3 videos on YouTube a week, 2 to 3 TikToks a day, 2 to 3 tweets a day, 2 to 3 Instagram photos every single week, posting on Facebook daily, etc. Each platform has a consistency ratio, basically, is what it's called, for how often you should post so that it's likely that the platform decides that you are a quality enough creator to put your content out there for people to consume. Twitch has probably one of the worst gatekeeping algorithms in the fact that it kind of doesn't have one. If you listen to anyone who's a streaming coach or a streamer in general who talks about Twitch, basically they'll tell you there is zero discoverability because there is the worst type of gatekeeping algorithm. Basically, the only way that you get exposure on Twitch is if you already have a couple hundred or a couple thousand people, depending on the category that you're in, watching your videos at any given time. The only other instance is if you go off platform and already have an audience to bring on to Twitch. And then you have the viewership and then you have the exposure. Facebook, I wouldn't even really count as social media. Most social media is in the form of trying to connect with new people and get your content out to new people for them to see and get exposed to. Facebook is more of a getting a deeper interaction with people you already know. I don't know many people who add people on Facebook that they haven't already met in real life. And if they're following someone, it's because that person is making content that people that they already know and like are enjoying that content and sharing it to them. And this is one of the biggest places that I think that TikTok has a real advantage. Now, unlike Twitch that has no gatekeeping in a bad way, TikTok has no gatekeeping in the best way. For example, there isn't really a quality of thumbnail or quality of title or quality of this for TikTok to put your video in front of someone. You just upload a video and it shows up on people's For You page most of the time. At best, you have some form of gatekeeping with maybe some hashtags and the likelihood of you showing up on someone's For You page more often because they press the follow button, which leads me into the other side of the algorithm. Let's jump into the creator and consumer algorithm. Like I said, this is a two-sided coin, making it essentially two different algorithms. Basically, the consumer side of the algorithm is how likely a video is going to be put in front of you. And that's going to depend on whatever it is that you're interested in, what you say you're not interested in, and what type of stuff you interact with. Now, this can play a role digitally and in your own mind. For example, the likelihood that you click on a thumbnail on YouTube depends on how much that visually that thumbnail applies to you, or how much a title of a video is a subject that you're interested in. Facebook, the likelihood that you're going to see certain content is usually if it's someone sharing something to you or you sharing something to someone else. Twitter, more often than not, is because you're looking for some type of a news story or something controversial to argue about. Instagram, you're looking for something visually appealing for the most part. LinkedIn, you're probably looking for something business or job related. Now, this is where I think that TikTok also really shines, and this is where videos start to go viral. TikTok takes this algorithm and makes it super transparent, especially if you're trying to be a creator. Basically, you could take the panel that's on the right side of every TikTok video and flip it by priority. And like I said in the gatekeeping section, that new bottom, the follow button, is basically just the gatekeeping part of the algorithm. Everything else is on the consumer and creator side. The lowest priority is likes. You could have a lot of people like a video, but liking it is just liking it. Okay, good. That was an enjoyable video. It was either visually appealing, I laughed, something like that. The next tier is the likelihood that someone wants to interact with the video. They have something they want to say. This is where a lot of controversial topics and things that people argue about and outrage culture come into play. Not only are they interacting and commenting on the video, but most people don't pause a video while they're commenting. So when someone's commenting, you're actually getting repeat views as it just plays in the background and repeats. And the next and highest tier is the share button. The likelihood that people want to show other people content that they've already seen, something that they think other people will enjoy, something they want the world to see themselves. TikTok makes that algorithm completely transparent. Likes, then comments, then shared by priority. The more something is liked, it's good. The more it's commented on, it's better. And the more it's shared is the absolute best result you can get to make your video go viral. You can also see this in YouTube. Pretty much every mainstream full-time creator on YouTube, if you check out their videos, you could tell which ones they have priority on. One of the things that they'll usually say is subscribe so they can get followed and you can see them regularly. But they'll usually prioritize telling you to share a video, that way more people can interact and see it. Their next priority is usually telling you to comment, because once you comment, it's that same engagement. And every once in a while, they'll ask you to hit the like. Like I said, if you look at Steven Crowder's content, lately he's been telling people comments over likes because it's just better for the algorithm. He knows it objectively. He sees it in his video. And that's across every platform. Creating content that people like is good. Creating content that people want to engage with is better. And creating content that people want other people to see is best. And that transparency of that algorithm is why I think TikTok is so successful, so addictive, and why it's such a great app.